Yes, I made you as host. No.
Okay. Yesterday we were we mapped a second.
Sorry.
Yesterday we created one more sprint in that, and then moved some of the backlog items to sprint 3.
Sprint 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have done with the capacity planning. We have done with even velocity also. Am I right? If I'm not wrong. Velocity even discussed. Am I right?
Yeah. Velocity, you started that. I mean, but when it comes to real-time experience, can you give us more input on that when it comes to the point of that?
Yeah, velocity is very simple, So velocity means based on the previous work what team has completed. Okay. What are the possibilities to complete the remaining sprints? So, based on the previous work what team has completed, we have to project the possibilities of completing the balance work by the team. Further, generally, this velocity planning will be made. Okay.
Okay.
For example, I'll give you an example to you. Let's say there is 3 months release. Okay. There is release for 3 months. 3 months is equal to 12 weeks. Okay. 3 months equal to 12 weeks. Now, for example, there were 3 sprints were completed. For example, as an example, I'm taking 3 sprints were completed.
Okay.
3 sprints. Open one Word document. I will tell you. Open one Word document. I will tell you the thing. Open the Word document. Yeah. I will tell you a few things. Please write them. Release.
Yeah.
Release 1.
Okay.
Write down as release 1. Okay.
1 second. It is typing it. Hold on.
Release 1, which is equal to 3 months. Equal to 3 months. Bracket 12 weeks. In bracket, put 12 weeks. 12 weeks. Okay. Next line. For example, total number of user stories. I'm giving the rough figures, okay.
Sure.
Not relating to the case study Jira board. What is that we are working on? Okay, that is not relevant.
Okay.
I'll just give you number of user stories. For example, 60 or sorry, 80 user stories. Okay. Next line. Number of story points. number of story points, story points, story points, number of story points. Average, I am taking average 2 into 80, for example, 2 into 80, 160 story points. I'm just taking it for easy multiplication. Okay,
Sure.
number of story points 160. So release 1 we have planned for next 3 months. 3 months is equal to 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay.
Now total number of user stories we supposed to complete will be 80. Okay.
Got it.
That is equal to story points. It is 160 story points has to be
160.
completed, right? So in 12 weeks of time. Now write down sprint 1. Right? Sprint 1 we had taken story points, conversion of story points I am saying. Sprint 1 we have completed. In the sprint 1 itself you can write down beside. Sprint 1 we have completed 25. No need to write we have completed. Something like 25 completed. 25
Okay.
story points completed.
Okay.
Sprint 1, 25 story points completed. 25 story points completed. This is equal to 2 weeks. Equal to 2 weeks is the sprint time. Okay, duration. Next, second sprint. Second sprint, 30 story points. Completed, which is equal to 3 weeks, for example. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Sprint 3. 28 story points. Which is equal to 2 weeks. Sprint 4. 26 story points. Which is 2 weeks. Now, next. Total number of, write down, total number of sprints completed. Four equal to 4. Next line. Next line. Total number of story points completed. Can you count that? 25 plus 30 for 55, 55 plus 20, 20, 40. 40, 55, 95, 98, 95, 5, 100, 101, 109. Am I right? 109.
Yeah.
Can you count? Is it 109?
Yes.
Right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So 109. So 109 story points completed. 4 sprints completed. Next line. Number of weeks. Completed weeks. Completed weeks. Completed weeks. Number of weeks completed. Whatever it is. 2 plus 3, 5 plus 2, 7 plus 2, 9 weeks. Okay. So here is the point. 9 weeks completed. We could complete 109 story points in 4 sprints. Okay. Now go to the next slide. Here, HERE, here.
Okay.
We need to understand the possibility of completing release successfully, completing release, the release successfully, right? That's what we have to see. Now, in the next slide, how many weeks were balanced? Available weeks. Write down in the next slide, available weeks. How many weeks available now? 3 weeks, right? Hardly 3 weeks are available. Hardly 3 weeks are available. Balance story points. How much it is? 109 means 110, 50, 51.
51.
Balance story points, 51. Right? So 51 story points team has to complete in 3 weeks of time. So how many sprints do we require to complete this? This is what generally we call it as velocity.
Okay.
Okay, there are 2 points we have to consider based on the previous track. What team has done? What could be the possible story points they can complete in the next sprint? That is one way. That is to understand. For that velocity planning, yesterday I have told you, right?
Correct.
Average we have to take, average divided by maximum capacity into the available number of days by the team in that particular sprint. So average we got it, right?
Yeah.
Velocity is very simple. Velocity we calculate because based upon the previous record, what is the balance of work do we have? How much is the balance timeline team has? Whether team is capable enough to complete or not. To know that, whatever the thing we do is called velocity plan. Being a scrum master, we have to focus on. Understood? Clear?
Yeah, got it.
Right? So this is what generally velocity planning. So for that, how to do velocity was done, right? So for the upcoming sprints, for example, the next upcoming sprint we have taken how many story points, because we have not taken any user stories into account here, if you remember that, right? Because stories are already converted into story points. So our focus is only on the story points to complete, not how many users. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So for that reason, generally this velocity planning and all everything we do.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, velocity planning is based on the previous records. How much is the balance work on average out of the story points? Okay. From there we may able to derive that. Okay, are we able to complete that in a balance story points in the remaining time frame? Is it correct or wrong?
Yes. Velocity will be done for that. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Right. So this is what generally for velocity will be used.
Okay.
Understood? Clear?
Now, correct, Raj. Okay, here is a question now. I have now the balance story points 51 points. Okay, considering the average out of the sprint, okay, average is almost 26. Okay. 26 story points for 2 weeks. Which means that
it could be 1 week also. It could be 1 week also.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Need not be the what we call need not be 2 weeks all the time. Right? Sometimes it could be 1 week sprint even.
Okay.
Understand? Right?
Okay. Okay, from this example, no, Raj, I mean, it could be 1 week also. From this example, if I take this one, out of those 26 is average of story points, and then average of this 2 weeks. Okay. Which means that out of balance 2 weeks we have, okay, we may able to complete another 25 points. Another 1 week, I would say, another 5 or 6 points, I would say. In the 3 weeks time, 32 to 35, 32, between 32 to 35 story points, we can able to complete that from the based on the previous story points and then timings.
Right.
Okay, got it.
So all these work comes under KPI.
Okay.
This is what generally we call it as KPIs, means key performance indicators.
Okay.
Okay, right? Key performance indicators. Because usually, whenever we are working on the sprints, all that, we have to ensure that how many were completed, how many were balanced, and all everything we have to see. Okay. Vinod.
Okay, got it.
Manjunath.
Got it.
Because there are possibilities that scope may change. Scope may change, right? Because of the inconsistency of the team, usually there are possibilities scope will change. Am I right?
Got it. Yeah.
Right. Now, if you want to calculate the scope change, right? Because this is one of the key performance indicators which we have to see, right? Scope change. Write down in the Word document. Please open the Word document. We need to calculate
One more question I have
change.
on this. If at all, if I ask you, I mean, what is the difference between velocity and capacity planning?
Capacity means available manpower you have now. It is nothing to do with work what they have completed. Capacity planning means how much time these people can spend.
Okay.
Understood? Clear?
Yeah.
Capacity planning means you are calculating the capacity. How much time will it be taken for them to complete? How much time these people can spend in a particular week sprint or in a particular time, right? That's what generally capacity planning. For example, let's say that you have a team of 5 people. Okay, 5 people. So on what basis their capacity will be calculated? First of all, based on the number of days, how many these people can spend, right? Second, the capability of the team, capability of those individuals, whoever is having experience in their respective fields, right? Yes, sir. Right?
Yes.
So, being a Scrum Master, what is that you have to see? Whenever we are working on sprint planning, all that, capacity planning has to be done. First of all, how much time these people can spend, how much time is available, first of all, right? Let's say one person is available 6 hours on an average. If he is available for two weeks of sprint, which is 60 hours. 60 hours is the maximum capacity where one person can spend. Okay. But due to different constraints, maybe he might have taken leave or something like. What is the actual availability? Actual availability may not be 60. Actual availability
Correct.
would be maybe somewhere around
Approximately 40 hours.
50,
40.
right?
Yeah.
So even though the person is capable enough to complete, right? That person has that capacity to do. Due to the absence, what is happening? Number of hours, what is that he can spend on the particular sprint will come down. So you have to make sure why capacity planning all this time we do for every sprint is we have to see that everybody should be present in the sprint. There should not be any absence further. If there is an absence, right? If there is an absence, who has to taken care of that work? For example, database designer were absent for next 2-3 days. Okay. So who has to taken care of that? Team has to decide. Within the team, they have to decide who should takes care of based on the work. What is that assigned to them? These are the additional responsibilities and additional work which was piled up on them.
Okay.
Right. So if you want to know what is that you require first of all, capacity planning has to be done. Right. Understand? Clear?
Yeah, got it.
Right?
Yeah, got it.
Right. This is the point. Now, scope change. This is what I'm saying. Now here is write down scope change. Now here is the question. You could ask me, Raj, what is meant by scope change? For example, there is a sprint which was started. There were 10 user stories. Okay. Team has started working on it. all of a sudden, few more user stories were added. Few more user stories were added. What will happen now? What will happen now?
The time will get increased.
Time
If the sprint is already
the time will get increased. At the same time, there is a possibility of deviation of scope happens. Am I right?
yes.
Right? Am I right or not?
Yes, Raj.
So, in what way this is getting affected and how much percentage of scope change happens in every sprint is what you need to know being a Scrum Master. One more key performance indicator it is. This is what we call it as KPI, key performance indicator. If these kind of practices happens, what will be the percentage of scope change happens in every sprint? Okay, this we want to know.
Gosh.
Understand? Clear?
Yes. But
now,
Raj, I mean, when the scope change is there, but we are not accepting the scope change after sprint is started, right?
See,
okay.
Fundamental rule is that.
Okay.
But there are possibilities because if you remember, we have discussed the same point, I think 2 days back. There are possibilities due to the importance of that particular work to be completed by the request of the product owner. We have to make some changes in the existing ones. There are possibilities.
Okay.
Will you agree? Right? Fundamentally,
yes.
Fundamentally, it's not a good practice to add new things once the sprint is started. Fundamentally is that.
Yeah.
But that will not be the case all the time. Practical scenarios are different. Why are we discussing about practical scenario? Because of that. Yeah. If we are following based on the usually in our real world, there are some standard rules and regulations. Then we are following. Then there is no point in discussing about that anything. Okay. But there are some situations we come across in real world which we never expect. These kind of, for example, customer have came to you and we know the please add these things. Okay, simply he's saying. What do you say? Are you going to say yes or no? Right? Because end of the day, in organization, diplomacy is required. Because of course, maybe there is a deviation in my discussion. I will tell you one proverb. I think you know Winston Churchill, who is a statesman. You know that, right? I think, of course, by pausing my session and I'm just giving this, I think this is something where diplomacy is required. I'll tell you. Manjunath, please listen. Winston Churchill, you know, right? Is a statesman and a British Prime Minister at one point in time. He has a famous quote. What was that is? Diplomacy is an art. Diplomacy is an art. Where if you say to some person that go to hell, he will ask you the direction. Did you understand?
Yeah.
We say to someone that go to hell, man, go hell, right? Go to hell. So again, he should ask you that how to go. That is what we call diplomacy. We understand.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
So why I am saying is there is some relevance because that's the reason I have told you this program. Because diplomacy of accepting as well as rejection is important, especially when we are working on the agile projects. Not only in agile projects, everywhere it is mandatory, of course, to be the fact. But in agile also, because there are rules. Whatever you said is right. It's not a good practice at all. On paper. But in reality, it is different. In realities are
correct.
Right. So that end of the day, one way or other day, that reality has to be accepted by us. Will you agree?
Yes, you're right.
That has to be accepted, right? Right or not?
Got it. Yes, you're right.
Right. So this is what so that's the reason why there should not be any scope keep happen. First point. right? There should not be any scope creep happen. But there are possibilities sometimes it happens, and how to encounter that, how to face that, and how to evaluate.
Okay.
That's what we
Okay.
call it a scope change. One of the key performance indicator is called scope change. Okay.
Okay.
Now, for this scope change, the measurable points are story points. Write down. Measuring unit. Measuring units are story points. Measuring units are story points. If it is disconnected, please connect again.
Yeah.
Some story points. Okay. I will give you an example to you. I will give you an example. Open an Excel sheet. Please open an Excel sheet. Second page. Go to the second sheet. Go to the second sheet. Third sheet. I think second sheet you have done. Go to the third sheet. Create 4 columns from D4. From D4 to 4 columns. From first D4. D4. First column sprint. Name it as sprint. First column, name it as sprint. Second column, committed. Committed. Third column, added story points. Added story points. Vinod, writing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Added
See my
story
screen,
point.
right?
Third was added story points. Okay.
Yes.
Now fourth one, descope.
Descope.
Descope means removed story points. Whatever we have removed from the for that particular sprint is called descope. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Now, for first one, take sprint 2, because sprint 1 you can't calculate, because sprint 1 is the first one. So take it from sprint 2. Sprint 2. Next, sprint 3. Write down. First of all, write down the sprints. Sprint 3. Sprint 4. Sprint 4. Till 7. Till 7. Okay. Now, for example, in sprint 2, the committed were 29. Sprint 3, the committed were 34. Sprint 4, committed were 16. Sprint 5, committed were 30. Sprint 6, committed for 45. Sprint 7, committed were 30. Okay, these are the committed story points in that particular sprint by the team. Clear? I think there is some error is going on. I think a lot of pluses were coming. I think so. Can you click on that escape? I think you will. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay, fine. Now write down under added story points. In the second sprint, no story points were added. No story points were added. In the second sprint also, no story points were added. Now, in the fourth sprint, there were 23 story points were added. Next, none. Remaining 3 sprints, no story points were added. Okay. Understood, Vinod? Right? So, coming
got it.
Of the story points. Second, added story points, because most of the sprints were not added except fourth. Right?
Yes.
Now, remove story points. For example, as for different reasons, we have removed some story points, right? So, in the second sprint, we have removed 10. We have removed 10. Whereas Third sprint, we have there is no story points we have taken out. We were the same, 34 the same. Whereas in the fourth, the same, we have not taken anything. But added was 23. We have not taken anything, 0. But added was 23. Okay.
23.
Sprint 5, 15 were removed. 15 were removed. Sprint 6, there was nothing was removed. Subsequently, in 7 also. Okay. Understood, Vinod, right?
Yeah, got it.
Now, this is what generally. So, sprints, there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sprints committed, added story points, D-scope. Now, you have to calculate the percentage of scope, right? Percentage of scope has to be calculated for D-scope, right? The calculation, go to Word document. Yeah, you can calculate there. D-scope calculation is D-scope divided by D-scope divided by committed multiplied by 100. D-scope divided by committed divided by 100. Okay. Okay. Have you done? But here is the fundamental point we should understand. D-scope, whatever the D-scope are we talking about, if you closely see, D-scope is applicable only on second, third, fourth sprint. So you have to calculate D-scope for second, third, fourth. Understood, Vinod, right?
Yeah, got it.
Whereas fifth, sixth, seventh, scope increment has to be calculated.
Okay.
Right? Understand?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, sprint 2, D-scope is 10 divided by committed is 29 into 100. How much it is? Sprint
34.
34. Okay. What about sprint 3 then?
Sprint 3 is 0 because the
0
D-scope is 0.
divided by 34 into 100. How much? 1 minute. Let me calculate.
Yeah. 0 only.
0 only, right? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So 0. Next was also 0 divided by 16 into.
But we have added the point here. I mean, added story points. The incremental we consider that into the
Scope, which one? I didn't understand.
In the point sprint 4, we have added story points.
23 story.
Which means that actually, if you D-scope percentage will not be there because 0 if you calculate will come as 0 only here.
Scope was not there.
So
that's what I'm saying. There is no scope.
Okay.
There is no D-scope there.
Yeah.
Why? Because in the second sprint there are some removed sprint was taken, right? 10 was taken. That was compensated average.
Yeah.
Understand? Clear?
Got it. Yeah.
Right. So this is what D-scope, which is applicable for second, third, and fourth. Okay. Am I right?
Yes.
Now, for example, for scope increment. Scope increment we are doing for 5, 6, and 7. Okay. 5, 6, and 7. So formula for scope increment is added story points divided by committed into 100.
Added story points. Okay. Added story points
divided
by
committed into 100.
Committed into 100.
In the first case, 15 divided by 0 divided by 30 into 100.
Yeah.
Okay. In the second thing, 0 divided by 45 into 100. In the third one, 0 divided by 30 into 100. Understand? Clear?
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
So this is how generally we have to do the calculation. Clear to you now?
Clear, Raj. Why we need to do the scope percentage here?
Scope percentage because we